Dear friends, good morning to everyone. Today in this new video, we are talking to you about thermocouples, which is the mechanism that, in the event of accidental flame extinction, stops the gas from escaping. We have already made a video on this topic before to show how to change a thermocouple. Today, instead, we will show how to determine if this thermocouple is defective. So now we proceed with disassembling our cooking. So first of all, we need to clean the contact point of the thermocouple with its support. Because what happens? During the use of the cooktop, it is normal for oxide and grease deposits to form at this point. So first we will detach the thermocouple. Now, with the help of a screwdriver or a wire brush or a bit of sandpaper, you need to clean this point, which you will surely find blackened. And the thermocouple bolt also needs to be cleaned. Once you have done this type of cleaning, reassemble the thermocouple. Tightening again with the wrench. At this point, you can test if it works. Clearly, the problem was just the dirt and oxide that had formed. In this case, if it still doesn't work, then you need to check the actual functioning of the thermocouple. To do this, it is advisable to disassemble the thermocouple again. We also disconnect the thermocouple from its contact. Once we have the thermocouple in hand, we can test it with a tester. So the first thing is to check the continuity of the thermocouple. So we take the tester and set it up in the scale as an ohmmeter to measure the ohms of the resistance. On the lowest scale, like this. Then we place the probes, one on the contact terminal and one at the base of the thermocouple. As you can see, it shows full continuity. So this means that the thermocouple is intact. Now we need to see if the thermocouple is capable of producing the necessary voltage for its operation. So we will set the tester to the voltmeter position in direct current on the lowest scale. Then we place the probes in the same position and with the help of a lighter. We will heat the thermocouple to see if the needle moves. Here, as you can see, the needle of the tester is rising, which means it is generating a voltage. In fact, if I turn it off now, as you can see, the needle returns to 0. So this means that the thermocouple is working. Now, if the thermocouple is working and the problem with your cooktop persists, then it means that the defective component is the magnet located inside the mechanism. So once we have confirmed that the thermocouple is in good condition, it means the problem is with the magnet, which is located here near the mechanism. So we need to unscrew it in order to replace it. We take a wrench or of the appropriate size and unscrew it. Once loosened, you can unscrew it by hand. Once unscrewed, as you can see, this is the component, the magnet right here, which needs to be replaced. So you need to take the sample to an appliance parts dealer and you can purchase it and reinstall it. Once you have the new magnet, just reinstall it by following the steps. On the contrary, insert it into its housing and screw the cover back on, which should be tightened very well. So this is our magnet that we have disassembled. In practice, the function of this component is to open and close the gas flow, meaning it receives the electrical impulse from the thermocouple. Once the thermocouple heats up, it sends the electrical impulse and opens the gas circuit. When the thermocouple cools down, the current stops reaching the magnet, which releases and thus closes the gas passage. However, it must be said that it is not easy for this small magnet to fail. Generally, most of the time, the problem is due either to the dirt that occurs at the contact point of the thermocouple with the cooktop or to the thermocouple itself. To conclude, we can say that when you go to disassemble the cooktop, as we have already mentioned in previous videos, you go to unscrew the screws that hold it in place. The work surface have a lot of patience because there is a possibility that these screws won't unscrew because they are full of rust or dried grease. And then clearly, since you are putting your hands inside a cooktop of an appliance that has electrical current, proceed with the operation. First by disconnecting the power. Dearest friends, greetings. I urge everyone to subscribe to the channel, send comments or questions if you have any doubts, and I will be pleased to respond. Thank you and goodbye.